Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. One.
Eso, ahí está.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and all that good stuff. We're the latest and greatest. Now, May 6th is going down. It's coming sooner than we think. We got other fights to get past, like Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko this week. Should be a good one in the UK. I'm looking forward to that. And also, May 6th, the Golden Boy card with Canelo and Chavez Jr. Now, there's a Boxing Ego first look on the channel. Make sure you guys check that out as well. You guys seen the clip at the beginning. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. looks like he's taking this fight absolutely serious, and this is what I like to see. Now, when this fight was initially announced, the inception of this particular fight, there were a lot of doubts and a lot of doubters. People said Chavez is going to be a skeleton. He's going to look terrible on the scale. He won't make the weight. And Golden Boy and the reports made it very firm and let it be known to the public there will be hefty fines if Chavez Jr. in fact comes overweight. In fact, it'll be $1 million per pound that he's over. The contracted weight is 164.5. Chavez Jr. hasn't fought at like around that weight or 160 middleweight in years. And he's had injuries, he had long layoffs and stuff like that. I believe his last fight at middleweight was against Sergio Martinez, and he lost that fight. He lost it pretty convincingly. But I gotta say, man, I'm impressed with Chavez Jr.'s motivation for this particular fight. I really, truly don't know who I'm gonna pick to win this fight, but you guys seen the clip at the beginning. Chavez Jr. looks pretty small. Like, he looks a lot thinner, leaner than we're used to seeing him. He seems like he's really focused and listening to his team. He has some of the best people in the business in their respective positions. Nacho Beristain, definitely a Hall of Fame worthy trainer who's trained Juan Manuel Marquez. He's trained Finito Lopez. At a point in time, he even trained Canelo's own promoter, Oscar de la Hoya. Some of you guys didn't know that. And he also has Angel Mimo Heredia, who's been involved with sports. He's worked with a lot of top guys, Badu Jack, Marquez, of course. And he worked with Marquez in the fight where Marquez stretched out Pacquiao, made him faceplant in the fourth fight. And in the previous 3 fights, neither guy had actually knocked out the other person. So he knows what he's doing when it comes to strength and conditioning and getting people ready. So I'm looking forward to this particular fight. Chavez Jr. seems like he's actually taking it serious. I can't take anything away. There is a few things that Beristain said that it kind of worries me, and I'm like, I gotta go with the gut and pick Canelo, but I don't know, because I don't think this is an easy fight. But Nacho Beristain, He did mention that there was some turmoil in the camp. Chavez Jr. said it was kind of miserable, the conditions in the high altitude where he's training, and he wanted to relocate to somewhere else. And Nacho was like, no, if you relocate, if you try to move this camp, then I'm out of camp and I'm not going to train you. So they hashed it out and worked it out. And then Beristain also revealed that he's a little bit worried that Chavez Jr. is not going to follow the game plan. So that kind of worries me when the trainer's saying stuff. But you never know. In boxing, sometimes people they say stuff as a ploy. They want to put it out there like there's all these issues in training camp just to maybe catch the person off guard, or maybe that's how he feels 100%. Nacho Beristain seems to be a pretty stand-up, straight shooter, straightforward type of person. So maybe that's really how he feels. But I do know sometimes you can leak your own information, like, oh man, so-and-so's getting dropped in camp. So the other person's like, oh, okay, this is going to be an easy fight. He's getting hurt in sparring, right? And then that might not have even happened. So I do know in the sport, this is the art of war, you know what I mean? So people will do a lot of things to get leverage or gain some kind of psychological edge. So if even that means fabricating something like, oh, he's struggling to lose these last 2 pounds, and you're like, oh, okay, he killed himself to make weight, and then you go into the fight thinking that, and then that might not have been the actual case. So I don't know what it is, but those little things raise my antenna from the Chavez Jr. camp. Other than that, it looks like it's been a solid camp. He had plenty of time to prepare. As we close in, get about 2 weeks before the actual bright lights and the showdown. Both fighters look ready, and both fighters look like they mean business. Canelo looks like he's moving up. I do have questions about Canelo too. Muscles take oxygen. He looks like he's bulking up. I want to know if he's underestimating Chavez Jr. as well, because he's going to this fight, and Canelo has, to me, he has a lot of dog in him. Like, he doesn't like, you look at it, Erislandy Lara had called out Canelo for at least a year and a half before they actually fought. And it took Canelo to get upstaged after he stopped Angulo, after he fought El Perro Angulo and stopped him. And then all of a sudden, that's when he stormed into the Golden Boy offices or called Oscar like, yo, make the fight. I want to fight this dude. This dude can't be doing that. Because it was at Canelo's post-fight Angulo press conference after he had his win, and while him and his team are supposed to be celebrating victory, Erislandy Lara hopped on stage, started trying to call him out and embarrass him and put him on the spot. And then you'll notice the fight was made after. So that machismo can get Canelo in trouble if he goes into the fight with all this bad blood and trying to do too much, carrying this extra weight. I think, I can't really think of a boxing example, but I think there's an example in the MMA, and it's a popular fight. So if you guys watch Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz, I think that was a perfect example. Now, I understand MMA is different. There's different ways he got submitted, and there's different ways to achieve victory in mixed martial arts, but it goes the same. Conor McGregor started feeling himself. He's the A-side in the UFC, just like Canelo's the A-side in boxing. And he was supposed to fight RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos, and he got injured. So he was like, whatever, I'll fight whoever. It doesn't matter. Nate Diaz, they tried to come down to like a 160s because he was supposed to fight RDA at 155. And Conor McGregor, being the fighter and having that that machismo, he's like, whatever, get comfortable, I'll fight you at 170. Nate Diaz had no plans on fighting at that particular time, but that's a fight he had been calling for. He wanted the Conor McGregor fight, so he couldn't pass the opportunity. So they agreed to 170. And Canelo agreed to 164.5, which is a pretty big jump, just like Conor McGregor, right? It was a big jump. He just fought at featherweight, fought against Jose Aldo. Then he was already moving up to 55, which is moving up. And he was going to move beyond that to 170. And the thing is that machismo can get you in trouble, because I thought even in the first fight, Conor McGregor came out very fluid, and he was landing some big shots and bombs and had Nate Diaz leaking. But the thing is, just like Chavez Jr., Nate Diaz is very resilient and very, very durable. So he was able to endure that. And naturally, being a guy with a big frame, Conor McGregor's best shots that would have stretched featherweights, they weren't able to do that and have the same effect on Nate Diaz. He ate the shots and it was still there. Bleeding or not, he was tough, he was resilient. And we've seen that with Chavez Jr. So that's why it kind of reminds me of that fight. Chavez Jr. was getting mopped up by Maravilla. Sergio Martinez was dogging him, doing whatever he wanted. He constantly had to reset, and he took a beating for 11.5 rounds. 11.5 rounds. And he still had enough courage, power, whatever you want to call it, to muster up in the 12th round and badly hurt and almost stop Sergio Martinez. And unfortunately, I love Sergio Martinez, but unfortunately, as he got hurt in that 12th round, it jacked up his knee, and he was never the same after that fight. You've seen he couldn't barely stand versus Cotto. He had bad balance versus Martin Murray. They should have been ruled 2 knockdowns, but I think they only gave Martin Murray 1 knockdown. And that knee injury, or whatever he did when he twisted up his leg at his advanced age, really affected Sergio Martinez for the rest of his career, for the remainder of his career. He didn't look as fluid. But in those early rounds, the first 11 rounds, not even early, even in the championship rounds, Martinez was doing whatever he wanted, and Chavez Jr. was still there. But things have changed since that fight. He also lost to Andres Fonfara and couldn't really do anything with him. Another good boxer, but that was at light heavyweight. So this fight could really go either way. I think Canelo, if his power carries up, he could like overwhelm Chavez Jr. And Canelo has a lot of dog, but my advice to Canelo is don't get too machista and don't get too where you feel like you just want to take unnecessary risk, or I don't know. It's a dangerous fight, especially if he makes his way comfortable, and it looks like he's trying for damn sure to make sure he comes in comfortable. He looks leaner than I can remember seeing him for any of these other recent fights. The Marcos Reyes, the Dominique Bridge, the Brian Vera fights. I remember they did an HBO Road to Chavez Brian Vera 2, and they showed him weeks before the fight on the programming on HBO, and he didn't look like this. He didn't look this lean. So he really wants to beat Canelo. Whether he can do it or not, it looks like the desire is there. And certain people get up for certain things, right? You look at Sergey Kovalev. His fight just before Andre Ward, it was probably one of his worst performances. He still did what he did and still beat Isaac Chilemba, but it was a hometown fight, and he didn't really impress with that particular performance. However, he knew what he was up against Andre Ward, an Olympic gold medalist, a decorated resume, a Super 6 winner, and he got up for that fight. He knocked Ward down. Some people had Kovalev winning. I had Ward winning, but the fact remains it was a very close fight, and he looked extremely well prepared, and he looked better in that fight overall than he did versus Isaac Chilemba, right? I think Andre Ward, had he fought Kovalev on the Chilemba night, and that's how Chilemba, that's how Kovalev was looking during the Chilemba fight, I think Ward would have had an easier night. But that's what I'm saying. Different things motivate different people, and when you know what you're up against, some people get up for that. So this fight could really go either way. Size matters. Let me know what you guys think. Also, check out the Boxing Ego Canelo Chavez Jr. first look. It's a tale of the tape series. I went into detail on that particular one. It's a little bit longer than some of the other ones. We working. 2017 is a good year for boxing. Anthony Joshua Klitschko this week. I have a first look on that, and just get used to this. This is boxing, the future of boxing. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.